Ladies and gentlemen, live from Chico, California, let's welcome William Benjamin Young. Yay! Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm coming to you live from my pharmacy here at work, and I am just thrilled to be here with all of you today, although it is virtual because I got notice that was kind of short notice about the wedding, and so I couldn't get the day off as much as I really, really wanted to be there. In fact, it's such an important day. It's one of the most urgent days that I would really want a day off, but I tried everything that I could, and I just couldn't get the day off. And there wasn't anybody to cover me. So I'm here at the pharmacy. We take care of customers here, and the only option that I had was to potentially call in sick, and then the pharmacy would be closed. And then, of course, I'd be breaking one of the 10 commandments. And then the other thing is that I'd be leaving all of my customers out to dry, and they wouldn't be able to get their medicine over this holiday long weekend. It's 4th of July weekend here in the United States. So I just couldn't do it as much as I really, really wanted to be there in person with all of you, and especially for Dawna. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it, and I hope you understand. Well, anyway, today at this time right now, I had just finished talking to Dawna and some of the others gathered in the bridal preparation room, where I just had the privilege to pray with her in preparation for her wedding. Today is July the 2nd, and right now it's like 2 o'clock. It's just like a minute after 2 o'clock, and so we just had a chance to pray. And so this is just so exciting because at this time now, over there live in Vancouver, the pianist is probably playing the music. Dawna's probably getting really nervous and anxious, getting ready to walk down the aisle, and all the guests are eagerly anticipating the beautiful bride coming down the aisle. And of course, Chris is probably up there with his jitters too, standing there and waiting impatiently perhaps for this exciting moment that's just to come. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here with all of you today. It's a very special day. I'm so glad that it's in a very beautiful setting in the house of God in a beautiful church there in downtown Vancouver. And then also I had the privilege of seeing Dawna's ring, her engagement ring and wedding ring, and the wedding band. It is absolutely beautiful. I love topaz and the beautiful heart-shaped. And then the other thing is the overall setting there at the church was so nice. And I also saw Dawna's beautiful wedding gown. And so what a tasteful color, and it was just absolutely beautiful. So she looks stunning, and I'm just absolutely so happy for her and for all the many guests that are here attending today. So, this is the time right now. It's about 2:05 or so. And so maybe at this very moment, Dawna is about to walk down the aisle, and all of you folks attending are gazing at her beautiful walk down the wedding lane. And so what a special time this is today. Okay, so at this time now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next segment. And so let's fast forward a little bit, okay? And I'll tell you that all of you guys, let me just tell you a little bit about how I know Dawna. Dawna is a friend of mine back from law school, so I've known her for a very, very long time. And I've known her since we were basically kids in law school. And then Dawna has become one of my very, very best friends. And of course, she's a girl. She's not my girlfriend. In fact, my wife is quite jealous nonetheless. But she is one of my absolute best friends. And, if you get to know Dawna and the way that she thinks like a man, like an intelligent man, or not to offend any of the women, but she kind of thinks at a very high level analytically and very deeply. And so oftentimes I actually, forget that she's a woman, because I'd be texting her and saying, yo, bro. And then I would have to backspace and say, sis, yo, sis. because I treat her as a buddy, as a pal, and she's just an absolute wonderful friend to me. And so that's just a little bit of background for me and Dawna. And I had the privilege of meeting Chris at the airport several years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when I was passing through Vancouver Airport at YVR. And I had the special privilege to share Purdy's ice cream and also my favorite, absolute favorite, which is Harvey's hamburger. And anytime I'm in town in Canada, which is where I grew up, I always have Harvey's hamburgers. Okay, so look at the time. So now it's 5 o'clock, and it is now time for the reception. And then, so what a special time this is. And as you may all know, at typical weddings, there's always these speeches from good friends, typically like the best man or the maid of honor. And for myself, I would call myself a bridesman. Okay, this is like gender affirming title for this special occasion, this wedding day, where I'm on the bride's side and a man. And then so privileged to be here at the reception now, okay, it's, virtually coming to you all. And then here at the wedding reception, typically they have these guests, which would be like me, and then stand up and they would, do some stand-up comedy, and so on and so forth, and share, a personal message and have some fun and games and questions and maybe some of the clanging of glassware, much to the bride and groom's dismay. And so we're going to do a little bit of that, a little bit of humor and a little bit of Q&A, and also a message from myself as a dear friend to Chris and Dawna. So that's what's in store right now. But just before we get to all of that, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge all the special guests that are there at the banquet this evening, at this fancy Chinese restaurant there in downtown Vancouver. And so I wanted to acknowledge all of the Chung family on Chris's side of the family. I know folks, I believe it's Jennifer and her family are in town from Washington. And also, I hope that actually, I'm not sure if Chris's mom is able to make it in person, but my respects to her, and it's an honor to be able to have an opportunity to share a message with you, and I hope you get the chance to see this message in person. And the rest of the family and friends on Chris's side of the family. So best regards to all of you and blessings. And then on the Tong side of the family, all of the bride's family and friends wanted to, reach out and shout out to all the Tongs out there, very proud Tong clan. And especially wanted to acknowledge Lily Tong, and over the years being a good friend for Dawna, and also during the years that Lily had some liver challenges, I was able to hear some of the stories and also to be a friend at different times. And so my heart goes out to Lily in such joy, knowing that this is such a special day and you're marrying your daughter, and just very, very happy for you. And especially when I heard that Lily offered to pay for the entire banquet. I was so touched and felt all of the love that Lily has for Dawna in such a wave that I actually broke down in not only in tears, I was practically like, not wailing, but I was just really, really moved. And it's just I can identify the tremendous love that Lily has for Dawna, and in turn, Dawna's love for Lily. And so thank you very much, Mrs. Tong, for hosting the wedding banquet this evening. I'm sure all of the guests are very grateful and appreciative, and even Chris as well. And so special honor to Lily Tong this evening. And then also for the rest of the Tong clan, I know there's many of you and lots of the kids as well. And so shout out to all of the kids out there, all right? And then so at this stage now, we're going to begin the stage where typically there's, a guest at the party who wants to get up and say a few words. And typically that guest may have had a few extra drinks and is the life of the party and trying to make fun and have fun and joke around with everybody all around the room and tickle the little kids, and that would be me, okay, the one if I was there in person. And so I'm doing this virtually live with all of you, and as we say, it is already past 5 o'clock, and so the dinner and the banquet's going to start now. So I wanted to share with you all a couple of the questions that I wanted to, sort of MC with the rest of the guests in person today, which is a little bit of fun, but it's something, not all embarrassing or anything, but it's something kind of special for all of the guests that may have an opportunity to see this video, to hear from Chris and from Dawna your experience about your first date. Okay, so tell us, how was it on your first date? I know that it was kind of a blind date in some ways. You had not met before, but I'm sure it was a very special day, because that was, it seemed like it was a deal clincher, if I could state that correctly. So tell us all about that. And as you, both Chris and Dawna, reminisce about it, I recommend that you cherish it, because it is something very, very special for both of you. It was the beginning of God's work in your life. Dawna knows a little bit more privately in terms of the outset of how that date began, and some of her concerns and her prayers, and whether going on this kind of a date was a good idea, and what would happen, and so forth. And so she has some stories that she could tell you about how I was just in the background providing some spiritual support, if you will, for her on this journey. And it turned out to be marvelous, that first date. Okay, so that's the first question that I have for the bride and groom. So if you could share that. And then the second question has two parts to it, 2A and 2B. And the first part is, not only myself, but the rest of us all want to hear, when was the moment that you knew that you were in love? Okay, both for Chris and for Dawna. When was the moment that you realized you were in love? And so share that with all of us as well. And I recommend you also cherish this memory as a keepsake to remember how that felt, what was the experience. And I really recommend that you record it and videotape it just like this, and send it out to everyone perhaps. Okay, when you fell in love. Okay, and when you knew you fell in love. The next part of it, which is 2B, is what I wanted to ask is, how did you know over the course of these 13 plus years that you folks have been dating, how did you know that this is really the person that you should marry? That you knew that you're gonna get married to this person, and that you were certain of it, and that in this lifetime, it was something that you definitely wanted to do with all certainty. I think that as you contemplate that, there's many aspects that you might be thinking about in terms of, how do you know, the person's not marrying you because of your good looks, or your good stock picking strategy, or, Chris's beautiful condo, or whatever it may be. How do you know that, this is real love? And how do you know that this is the person with all his or her idiosyncrasies, that this is the person that you really, really want to marry? Okay, so those are two questions now that we've encountered. So please take some time to document that. Okay, and then for the third question, for all the audience and guests of honor to hear tonight, is share with us a special memory that you and Chris have. In fact, what we want to hear is your favorite memory together as a couple. Okay, I think that's very special as well for you guys to, give it some thought, and then to cherish that was your favorite memory together. And so, okay, so that concludes that segment of the Q&A games for this evening, and I hope everybody had fun with that. Woo! Yay! Okay, and then so the next segment right here is a special message from myself to the bride and groom, and to all of the guests that are listening as well. Is that I'm just so happy for you, Dawna, and for Chris. I know that each one of you have been looking forward to this special occasion where you're getting married. In fact, by this hour now, live in Vancouver, you guys have already been married. And then so my absolute congratulations to you. I'm so happy for each one of you, and all the best wishes and hopes and dreams that I can offer are all with you with my love. Okay. And I wanted to share with you a couple more heartfelt thoughts that I have. And it's that I am aware that Chris has cancer at this time. Okay. And, all of us, none of us come perfect, and we all have one thing going on or another. And life is full of ups and downs, and it's always an interesting adventure. Now, with this context of having the cancer in the background, it's all on everyone's mind and heart because we all love Chris. And so I wanted to share a thought around that. And that it is, with a marriage and with a relationship, a love relationship, that I encourage you all not to look at it necessarily as, well, how many days and weeks and years do we have together as a married couple? But I'd rather have you folks look at it as Chris and Dawna have had 13 plus years together as a couple and madly in love, and have had a rich, journey of experiences in love together. And that God has blessed them with this relationship and with this love for these last, 13 plus years, and hopefully many more years to come. So I want to share the perspective that a very, very healthy and strong and wonderful marriage and a bride and groom and a husband and wife, it isn't necessarily measured by how long you are actually married together, but rather I would propose how much you really, really love one another, and how deep is the love that you each have for one another, and how very, very special you are to one another, and how very, very important you are to one another. And I'd like to propose that that's where you have really experienced love, and you have experienced a successful marriage and a wonderful relationship as husband and wife. In fact, over the course of the 13 plus years you guys have been together, in many ways, you guys have already had your relationship as a married couple in many ways, because it's really the substance that makes a difference. And I would probably propose something in humor that maybe it's like a reverse mortgage situation, that you guys already had your honeymoon on a cruise a few years ago. That, of course, you guys will remember that you guys had a cruise together, and that things are maybe done a little bit in reverse. And the context I want to provide for that is that I would urge everyone, especially for Chris and Dawna, is to remember that God works in truly miraculous ways, and in ways that sometimes are very difficult to understand. If you look through many of the stories of the Bible, they always have some kind of a peculiar twist to it, and things are very, very unintuitive. And so, but there's always a wonderful outcome at the very end. And especially for those that are Christians, I urge you to embrace this perspective, is that even the apostles and the disciples of Jesus' time could not fathom and understand by any means what happened to Jesus. Like, why is he getting nailed on a cross? Like, why is he getting killed and tortured to death? What kind of good can possibly come out of that? And as we all know as Christians, the absolute most marvelous and greatest blessing to humanity, salvation grace extended to all of humanity throughout time and into the future, to everybody that has ever lived and will live, is a salvation grace plan that God loves all of us that much. And it came from Jesus dying on a cross. And so how remarkable and profound that message is in that context. So, back to the point I was trying to make is that, God has his ways that are much higher than ours. And that, who knows, for Chris and Dawna, each of you have your own peculiarities that, despite your affections for one another, maybe if you guys got married for 13 years, you would drive each other nuts and get divorced or something. And maybe this was turning out to be a blessing in disguise, that you guys would have had your best 13 years without the conflict and the annoying things that happen between typical man and wife relationships, living day in and out, making decisions and what color of the towels you want, and I don't want that color, and so on and so forth. And so maybe it took out a lot of the day-to-day friction out of the beautiful relationship that you have. So I encourage you guys to look at it in a very different perspective, knowing that the Almighty God that created heaven and earth and you and me and gave us all of us life and these beautiful moments today is much higher and much bigger than all of this, far beyond any of us can imagine. And so, anyway, so enough preaching at this point. And for all the atheists out there, you got to stay tuned for my number one hit single that hasn't been released yet. It's called "Source of Life." And it's a Christian rap song that I wrote because Dawna was holding me accountable to do a Lenten practice last year in 2021 before Lent. We always, every year, do something. Sometimes we don't eat chocolate or I don't drink red wine. But this year, she wanted to write a poem and she asked me what I was going to do. And I didn't really like a poem idea. So I said, I'll write a song. And all the way up until Easter Sunday, I had not finished the song. I hadn't even started penning it down. I had some ideas. But on Easter Sunday, Donna's like, "Hey, dude, are you ready?" And I'm like purposely avoiding her text because I wasn't ready. I hadn't finished my homework. And then so all the way, by the time it got to midnight on Easter Sunday, 2021, in the course of, I guess it was several hours, maybe 5, 6, 7 hours or something like that, I was able to pen together that Christian rap song, "Source of Life." All except for one paragraph. I had 3 major paragraphs and I needed a 4th and I didn't finish it. And then the very next morning when I woke up, by divine inspiration, I just decided to recycle one of the third stanzas and then called it a song. And I told Dawna, I'm done. And so anyway, stay tuned for that. It's going to be one of my number one hit singles, coming soon to a theater near you. And then, with all of these thoughts, I just wanted to share with you all in joy from a Christian perspective for all the Christians there attending tonight, and as a matter of encouragement of faith to all of you. Okay, my blessings to all of you, and I truly wish I was there in person celebrating the wedding, and also the banquet as well. But I am so sorry I missed all of that, including the mango cake, which I would have loved to participate in. And then so at this point now, I'm going to do a toast. And of course, I don't have champagne and I'm working right now. I'm glad that the phone didn't ring or customers didn't come up to the counter while I'm working here right now. By the way, I work in Chico, California at this time, and it's right next to a place called Paradise, California, one of the most beautiful places all around America. Anyway, here's my champagne, okay? In fact, this stuff is really, really good. It tastes so good. Maybe they got marijuana in it or something. It's just like really good stuff. So I'm going to shake it here, and we're going to pop the champagne, and we're going to celebrate with the bride and groom with a toast. Oh, woo! All right, so here's like the champagne here, all like swirled up. To the bride and groom, with all my love and all of God's richest blessings, may God bless you both with good health, lots of love, lots of laughter, many good times with family and friends and with each other. And congratulations, you guys are married! Woo! Applause button. Hallelujah. Bye, everybody. Love to you all. Bye-bye now.